Fiesta Mole, and before we bring out the dessert, the final course of Bliss Kisses, we're going to do 2 rounds of Bliss Kisses, because there are kind of 2 ways I make them. One is with coconut oil, which you can see when it's warm is a liquid, and the other is with cacao butter, which when it's warm is still a solid, unless you really heat it. So this is the cacao butter, so it's raw cacao, it's not sweet.
And it's not brown.
It's not brown, yeah. So, I mean, when you use this, you just kind of shave it off. In fact, I guess I'll do that one first. So the difference between making your Bliss Kisses with coconut oil and cacao butter. Coconut oil, you got to keep it cold. So, like, I keep mine in the freezer because I like crunchy chocolate, or you could keep it in the refrigerator. And the consistency of it is, you'll see as I make it, it's a lot mushier. Cacao butter, I froze some, I have them out, now they can just sit out at room temperature and they're fine. So if you're going to travel, I would do cacao butter because you can just have it, you know, in your pack and it's not going to get mushy on you, or not as mushy as if you did the coconut oil.
So if they get warm.
If the coconut oil ones get warm, they get mushy. These ones hold their shape like a truffle. And the taste is a little different. I like both. Partly because I like crunchy chocolate, so I do both, but I think you'll find that the coconut oil one, it can taste more like a milk chocolate, and the cacao butter one tastes a little more dark chocolate because you've got more cacao in the cacao butter one. Really, how I prepare it, I just shave it off.
Measure the cacao.
Yeah,
shave
yes.
it.
I'm a fly by the seat of my pants or the seat of my skirt kind of gal.
Okay.
I kind of shave it and I kind of go, does that look like a tablespoon? Or, you know, I might put the shavings into my tablespoon, like that looks about right. And then when I pour it into the Bliss Kiss, I might double measure it, or I just don't care because it's not an exact science.
Okay.
I have in my little custard cup some cacao butter that I melted once before, but it got cold, so it's kind of started to congeal again. But this is what I do. I take a bigger bowl and I put my custard cup in it, and I'm going to put hot water in it. And because I shaved it thin, or fairly thin, it doesn't take long for it to melt. If you have a dehydrator, you can also set it in your dehydrator and let it melt that way. I find that this is quicker and I don't use my whole
I just
dehydrator.
put it in and then
Walk away. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is my little teapot that lets me have boiling water, and that's it. That's all I do. And I mean, when I did this the first time, it maybe took, I would guess, 10 minutes at most for it to melt. That simple. It's that easy. Okay, so while that's melting, I'm gonna do kind of a basic recipe and then talk about other things you can put in. And that's kind of why I did this spread of stuff, so you get your neurons firing of what else would I put in mine. So the basic ingredient is raw cacao powder. You're going to have a taste of one tonight, the one made with coconut oil, that I used the chocolate bliss powder because of that. I mean, the advantage, here's cacao powder. I'll pass it around, but it's not much different than, doesn't say much. So if you use the chocolate bliss powder, you'll notice it has chunks in it, which are basically the hemp seeds. I ground mine up in the dry grinder of my Vitamix. You could use a coffee grinder, or you could just not care and have little crunchy bits of hemp seeds in your chocolate candy. If you're making it with cacao butter, it makes a creamier, softer candy. So the hemp seeds would be kind of weird. You might want to grind those up. Cacao powder, about a quarter cup, will make, I'm an artist. I'm not a scientist. I'm an artist. Oh, and this is a great use for your chocolate bliss bags because they've got a little bit of chocolate powder in them, which makes it a nice place to put your Bliss Kisses before you put them in the freezer. Isn't that yummy? Now, the one thing I found is when I eat these, I crave water, which is fine. I mean, it's good to drink more water, but I mean, if you think about it, drinking chocolate bliss, there's lots of water in that, so you're satisfying your body's need for water. When you're eating this, you're having the same amount of nutrients and no water, so there's water. And the other thing I put in is tocotrienols, also nicknamed Tocos. And this is a pristine, very refined rice. I was curious, like, what's this rice bran stuff about? And I went to the local grocery store, and this is the rice bran you get in a grocery store. And this is the rice bran you get as a superfood. That, yeah, this tastes nasty.
It tastes
This tastes nice and creamy. It makes things taste like milk chocolate. That's grocery store. This is the pristine, good stuff you want to use. Grocery store, good stuff.
And what is it?
Tocotrinos. It's rice bran that's very refined. And so it's high in vitamin E and CoQ10 and glutathione. I haven't looked up what glutathione is for.
It makes things creamier, like if you put it in bliss, it makes it like more milk chocolatey.
And so the Bliss candy is a quarter cup of cacao powder and a quarter cup of tocotrinos. You could, instead or in addition to tocotrinos, do carob. Carob will make it a little sweeter, so you might not need as much agave because it's naturally kind of sweet. I really like tocos. They're good for you. They make it a little lighter and fluffier. You could also use maca. Again, instead or in addition to. When I've played with this before, I've played with like 2 tablespoons of cacao, 2 tablespoons of carob. So I split that up. But generally every time I've played with it, I've found that I prefer it with an equal part of tocotrinos to however much chocolate I've got in there. It just balances out that kind of chocolate-iness. And you can see, like, as I'm mixing it, it just makes that whole chocolate powder a lot lighter. It's like fluffier. It looks, you know, it looks more like milk chocolate. So the ones that I made with the chocolate bliss, which you haven't tasted yet, those are the coconut oil ones. I did the chocolate bliss and tocotrinos. You could probably just do the chocolate bliss. There are tocos in the chocolate bliss mix, just not as much. But there's something about the consistency of it. It's just nice. The thing I added was a quarter teaspoon of salt. And you know, it's like, you know, when you make chocolate chip cookies, I always go like salt. But the salt balances the sweetness in it. It also makes you crave the water. And the salt is good for you. This salt in particular, it's high in minerals. Your body craves minerals. It's a good thing. Okay, so I put in all the powdered stuff. And I'll make another one that has chia seeds in it, but this is going to be the smooth one. So I could also add, the other things I would add, especially if I wasn't using the chocolate bliss, is I would add, this is a powdered vitamin C. Chocolate bliss has all the elements of a biologically available vitamin C in it. And the vitamin C helps your body rebuild tissue, rebuild cells. So I would consider adding that. I would add vitamin mineral green. So my recipe, and all these recipes are online on our Loving Superfoods website, so it's there ready for you. I say a half teaspoon of vitamin mineral green for this amount of chocolate bliss. I'd go up to a teaspoon, but more than that, you might start to taste it. In my chocolate, in a gallon of chocolate bliss, I do about a huge heaping tablespoon of vitamin mineral green. I might go up to 2 tablespoons, but beyond that, I might start to taste it. Cecilia, yes. Here's my science. Okay, right? Like I might. Oh, this is a nice little trick. So you're gonna put in, once you've got all your powdered stuff, like if you want to add maca or the guarana, yerba mate, the vitamin mineral green, the vitamin C. I mean, there's so many things you could add to this recipe and still have it taste great. Get all the powdered stuff mixed together before you add the cacao butter and the agave. And I do my oil first because then it's really easy for the agave to get in my spoon and slip it out.
Smart.
Yes. Spoon and a half. I have some left over. I might add it in. I'm going to see how my consistency is.
Okay.
Okay.
Because I like to cook like that. I hate.
Yeah, and I could also just add it in, and if the, you know, if it doesn't taste right, then yeah.
Okay.
Right. So this is 1.5 tablespoons of oil, 1.5 tablespoons of agave. Now, this is where you have the option of being a clean cook or a messy cook. You'll see pictures on the website of me with my green hat on, licking all the chocolate off my fingers. I was a messy cook that day. I'm going to be a little bit of a clean cook. And just so you see how this goes, because you might go, oh my god, there isn't enough oil in there! There's too much powder! Just relax. It'll be fine. Just keep stirring. And the cacao butter, in particular, it's a little powderier than oil. Like it's not as viscous, I guess, as the coconut oil. So it takes a little longer to get it all stirred. But you see, my little tablespoon and a half of oil and tablespoon and a half of agave was plenty. The cacao butter ones are not as moist as the coconut oil, so I put them in my chocolate bliss bag, in my cacao bag, because there's a little bit of chocolate powder in there. And this is where I get messy. And I just kind of ball it up. See, it's a little, it's a little moist. And roll it in there. The cacao butter I freeze just to get it solid. The ones that you had were frozen for, I don't know, an hour or two. And then I bring it out at room temperature because I have accidentally eaten them frozen and almost broke my tooth. Don't eat the cacao butter one frozen. Not fun. Chia seeds are in this one that you're about to get. I like chia seeds in the frozen one. Have you ever had like a Nestle Crunch bar, where it's kind of crunchy? That's what the chia seeds do. They can get a little caught in your mouth, like, tucked up under your gum or something. And chia seeds are really cool because they hold 12 times their weight in water. And so they make a nice little gel. If you remember a chia pet, you soak the seed in water and then spread it on the head. The head, yeah, whatever. Sorry, I had to take care of this while I'm talking. So the chia seeds are, again, high in protein, high in essential fatty acids. They were used by the Aztec warriors. They carry a little pouch of chia seeds, just like this, straight, and they'd pop it into their mouth to give them energy while they're running along and doing their fighting. So they taste great. It makes it nice and crunchy. You might get a chia seed roaming around your mouth and you'll notice it later because all of a sudden it's collected all your saliva around it and it's gummy. But it's not stuck in your teeth. It's just roaming around your mouth and it's giving you more energy later. You know what? I'm not going to demonstrate it because I'm messy. What I'm going to tell you that you do with this is put the chia seeds in the powder before you add the liquid. So in the recipe, chia seeds are listed as optional, so you might be following through the recipe. You go, okay, I got the cacao powder, I got the tocotrienols, got the salt. Now let me add the coconut oil and agave, and you have your chia seeds in, and then it's a mess because you can't get the chia seeds evenly distributed. So they're like a dry thing. And this was a tablespoon of chia seeds. That's all that was in there.